Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson, blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Chapter 17. Sir, we have 3 more transports arriving within the hour, Monroe reported to Virgis, standing at attention in front of his desk. Perfect, Cole responded. Kristoff can take the night shift. She can head up the day. I want you and Chappie controlling that line. They're starting to get desperate out there. Too many people are coming. We can't turn them away, sir, Monroe stated. You're right, but we may have to put up another checkpoint to slow them down. We don't want too many people in this area at once. It will get harder and harder to control, Cole fretted. Suddenly they looked up at one another sharply. They could hear a faint sound like a train approaching. Oh no, not now, Cole exclaimed, rising from his desk. As the shaking began, he ran outside the building to check the supply houses. People began to cower or flee in fear as the building started to shake. The rumbling grew worse and worse for minutes. The thunder sounded and the ground rumbled, tumbling everything above it. Get back to your vehicles, Cole shouted, but the shaking intensified as he said the words. As it subsided, he rose to his feet, stabilizing himself. A man ran directly into him. He shuddered as he looked into the man's eyes. They were black as night, and although the man was average size, Cole could feel a powerful aura emanating from him. Excuse me, mister, but you need to clear this area, Cole directed sternly, disturbed by his energy. The man looked steadily back at him. His dark eyes tried to dominate Cole's command presence. Can't you see that's what I'm trying to do? He snapped back, perturbed by Cole's request. Unwilling to relent to the man, Cole summoned his strength, demanding, Just get back to your vehicle, sir. Staring him down, the man replied, We're moving, Mr. Babyface. The man's companion urged him to leave, and the man acquiesced reluctantly. Cole watched them go, making a mental note of the man's face. There was something unique about that man, and Cole was determined to find out his business. Seeing Cole's distraction, Chappie noted, Dang, Virgis, what was that guy's problem? I don't know. Just keep clearing those people back. I don't want this situation getting out of control, Cole commanded, watching the situation unravel. Please, people, get back to your vehicles, Monroe yelled out at the crowd as more soldiers approached to start helping the people in the building. Cole could hear a faint rumbling ringing in the air. Positive another quake was on the way, he didn't want to lose any more soldiers. Move those crews back. Another quake is coming, he yelled at the fighters. Secure the equipment, Monroe shouted to the boom crews over the noise of the thunderous earthquake. They wobbled as the ground rippled underneath them. Virgis, look! The warehouse, Chappie shouted, looking out at the warehouse where the medical supplies were stored. Before the quake had entirely stopped, Cole was on his radio. Major General Barnes, we'll need more people at the warehouse. The building collapsed. I'll oversee them myself. Maintain control down there. Use lethal force if you have to, Major General Barnes commanded. Yes, sir, Cole replied. Monroe and Cole made eye contact, gripping their rifles tighter. Yelling at the crowd, Monroe directed, Everyone, stay calm. We will be trading today. Just be patient. Leaning into Cole's ear, he whispered, Sure hope that's true, Major. Keeping an eye on the people in line, Chappie warned. They're going to start to panic. Just relax, Chappie. Keep your eyes open and your rifle ready, Cole commanded. Cook approached quickly. The delivery trucks went over, Major. It's going to take hours to sort this mess out. Turning to Monroe and Chappie, Cole ordered, Patrol this line, boys. Keep these people in their vehicles. Use Beta and Charlie squads. I'll head to the warehouse and have someone take orders door to door. Today is not turning into a battle on my watch. We'll do our best, sir, Monroe declared, bracing for the impact of another earthquake. It was late into the night before Cole returned to check on Chappie and Monroe. Walking down the line of cars, Cole stepped back as a man jumped out of his vehicle and approached in a fury. Cole shouted, raising his rifle. Sir, get back in your vehicle now. I have a home to get back to. When are you opening up? The man insisted. Monroe had approached and told Cole under his breath, I got this. Monroe stood taller than the man and walked him backwards as he commanded, Sir, please get back in your vehicle. You see what's happening out here. They're going to get it going again. When? He queried. Honestly, probably not until the morning, so you might as well get some shut-eye, Monroe suggested. This is ridiculous, the man cursed as he slammed his car door shut. Thanks, Monroe, Cole declared. His eyes were heavy as exhaustion snuck up on him. What's the plan here, sir? Chappie asked as he approached. They're bringing in pod homes to store the supplies. That way this can never happen again, Cole informed them. How long is that going to take? Monroe asked, worried they would lose control before they could continue the trading. They're en route, but people are spread thin. It's going to be a long night, boys, Cole said sadly, taking a deep breath. Sir, the fencing you requested is here, a soldier said as he stepped forward and saluted. I want it installed around the supplies, the pod pad, and the semis. I want it done now, Cole commanded sternly. Yes, sir, the soldier replied snappily before hustling off to ensure the job was completed. As he was feeling a moment of relief, Cole's radio crackled and called for him. Major Virgis. Go ahead, Cole replied, annoyed. We have a situation at the end of the line, the soldier reported. I'm on my way, Cole answered. Let's go, guys. Walking towards the location in the line, they spied military vehicles waiting with the others. Who we got here? Chappie wondered curiously. We could use the help, that's for sure, Monroe admitted hopefully. The soldier whose voice was on the radio approached quickly. Sir, these men want you to load them so they can return to the capital, she declared, rolling her eyes. Taking a deep breath, Cole approached the man in charge of the caravan. Howdy, sir. How we doing today? The federal soldier replied in a snide voice. I'd be doing much better if you would load these trucks so we can go. We could use a hand reorganizing the supplies, Cole responded, hopeful he could get some help. Looks like you could, but we don't have time for that, the feds snapped back, irritated. I have people that have been lined up all day. If you roll your trucks up and we fill you first, we'll have a riot on our hands, Cole admitted, trying to encourage the men to help. The Fed looked at him with disdain. Not my problem. Tired of the man's unwillingness to lend a hand, Cole snapped back. See, you're wrong about that. Because unless you're going to roll these trucks up there, jump out, and do your job as servants to the American people, there is no way you're going up there. You help out, and no one will notice that you're getting loaded first. Sir, you're going to do as you're commanded and fill these trucks, the Fed insisted. No, I'm not, because we're in mercenary-controlled territory, and Major General Barnes is in charge here. And Major General Barnes has not given me any such order, Cole declared sternly. Then, I suggest you put me in contact with Major General Barnes, the Fed requested. Spinning away from the Fed angrily, Cole commanded, Get him on the radio, Monroe. Yes, sir, Monroe answered with a sly smile. We could really use your help, Cole told the Fed while they were waiting. I have my orders, the Fed replied, unwilling to budge. I'm sure your superiors would understand, Cole countered, before Monroe returned. Sir, Major General Barnes is on the radio, sir. Cole indicated for Monroe to hand the radio to the Fed. The men turned their back, allowing the man to speak privately. That guy's a dick, Chappie whispered. So much for sending in the cavalry, Cole mumbled back, eavesdropping on the conversation. The federal soldier declared, I'm reporting directly to Commander Gray of the Federal Police. Major General Barnes answered from the other end. Then have him call me, because no one is moving forward, and quite frankly, I can't believe you would even make that request. Give the radio back to Major Virgis. Here, Major Virgis, the Fed muttered, disgruntled. Cole listened to Barnes. Major Virgis, put eyes on those vehicles. They're to stay put. I wouldn't take their help if they offered. They can wait, like everyone else. Yes, sir, Cole replied. We're headed out, he commanded his men. Then he turned back to the Fed. We're not going to be open till the morning. Sleep tight, boys, the federal soldier insisted. You'll be hearing from my superiors.
The second largest producer of agricultural products, the Netherlands, is being forced to shut down 3,000 of its farms in 2023. This is to meet the strict emission goals of the European Union. 2023 will be a year of food shortage and increased food costs across the world. That's why your backup food supply and survival food are more important than ever. I want you to create your own stockpile or build upon what you already have with the best-selling 4 Patriots 3-month survival food kit. 20 mouth-watering recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Right now, go to 4patriots.com and use the code PBN on this or anything in the store to get 10% off your first purchase. Start building your own stockpile today. Go to 4patriots.com and use the code PBN.
Hello and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 412, season 15, episode 17. Hey, Jen, what's up?
Am I on? Can you hear me?
On.
Chin's up.
We're having too much fun in the green room, so yeah, I might have to throw that up on the old membership chat line, talking about everything.
Everything.
Everything. All right, guys. Audio drama 1 to 4 is live. I'm currently working on episode 7 right now, so second block will be coming soon. We'll go ahead and announce that when it happens. We'll have the blooper episode when
Get your Changing Earth special Snicker bars, gray and crunchy.
Gray and crunchy, baby, just like 9 years old.
They should have a special. They should have a special one. You know how they have Oreo cookies that are like mint green and stuff? Well, we should have the gray and crunchy.
Gray and crunchy Snickers.
Oh.
Courtesy of the Changing Earth.
That's funny. That's like my favorite candy, Snickers. And you called out Uno, which is like my favorite card game.
Oh, love Uno. Yeah, I mean, gotta have the Uno pack in the go bag. That's so essential. Yep. So, Virgis novel. Obviously, we're rolling the Virgis novel. And I'll have a bunch of those. I just got my book order in for Prepper Camp. Everything is ready to rock for Prepper Camp. Got the handcuffs so we can practice a little scaping and all kinds of stuff. And then I realized that you can just buy a set of universal handcuff keys. And I was like, gee, I think I will just buy a whole bunch of set of keys, and then the leather pouch on the back of the leather on the back of your jeans. You can just sew them right in there, dude. You have them all the time. That's way easier than picking it. I'll tell you what. I mean, it's good to know how to do both, right? But yeah. So I got a couple different kinds. I asked my buddy who's a police officer, what the best types of handcuffs are or whatnot. I'm sure I ended up on a list for that purchase. If I'm not already, But the ASP, it's ASP, the ASP cuffs are really super nice. And their key was the most universal. Like it fit all the other types. Not all the other types fit the ASP cuffs. So that's the one that I found that was the best. So if you guys are you're with me on this, hey, somebody were to kidnap you, they might put you in handcuffs. Wouldn't it be nice to have a key? At least part of your EDC kit. Not a bad idea. So I think that's where my brain's going with it. Is I'm just going to buy a bunch of replacement keys and have them everywhere, So why not? Prepper Camp is coming up. You got the announcement there.
Yeah, there's a last chance to get discounted tickets before they go to full price. Paying the full dollar. That's the 15th of this month. So it's next week.
Oh. Today is the 13th, dude.
Yeah. So yep.
Yeah, you better jump on that.
So like 15th, and then on the 16th they're full price. So.
Oh man, and if they're not listening
live,
live,
go to the website and confirm that. But a little birdie whispered it by ear that they're going full
that's
price.
happening. All right, yeah. Yep. I'm gonna have to make sure I get my episode posted tomorrow so people get the message.
Yeah. So all those folks who didn't listen live, missing out.
Yep, you're missing out big time. I just updated all of my live links at my website, changeinearthseries.com. So if you don't know how to listen to the live shows, you just go over there, click the link. PrepperBroadcastNetwork.com. Go there, hit the live tab, and then James even.
Oh, I just wait for you to dial in.
Well, you do. Yeah. I just call you every day. But James even did like a cool explanation of how to get into our live chat network because we created a safe space, so it's worth getting into the Prepper Broadcasting Network because you're not on any kind of platform that like Twitter or anything like that. So all right. Well, let's see what we got.
X. It's not Twitter anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It's X.
X. I'm over there. Sarah Hathaway 19 over there, guys.
Oh, nice.
Prepper Fact and Fiction as well. Prepper F and F. But Sarah Hathaway 19 is my handle on X, formerly known as Twitter. And you can definitely find me over there.
Prince was so ahead of his time, right?
Yeah,
he went to symbol.
Yeah, formerly known as Prince. Well, it's formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, so Sarah Hathaway 19 over there. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I always put everything up there to you. And you can go to my website and find me on all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's jump. Oh, except Facebook. Actually, I did do a Facebook again too, so this will be cool because only my listeners will know.
In the back door.
I did. It's only on my PC. They want my phone number bad, and I'm like, nope. So, but I am Erica Moore on Facebook.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I didn't even,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So if you go follow Erica Moore, I don't even think I have a picture up there yet. I just created an account and threw up the video for the audio drama. So if you recognize it, you'll recognize it.
Put your picture from the changing from the drop
like the book cover.
Yeah, the cover, the one that you did for the
trailer.
For
the audio drama. Yeah,
that's a good one.
That's true. That's true. I could do that one. I like that. Yeah, I could use that picture because I was like, they don't let me on there. I don't know what I ever did, but I'm not allowed on Facebook, not allowed on Instagram. So they want like peroxide.
Their ass. They've heard about you.
I was just sharing too much good stuff.
Madness skills.
Yeah. So Brock's like, we got to get you a burner phone so that you have a different number. I'm like, I don't think I care about it that much, but whatever, So.
It's that black van parked outside.
Yeah, go find me on formerly known as Twitter on X. They like me over there. They've always stuck. They've always been okay with me over there. So, yeah, Sarah Hathaway 19. No H on Sarah. Oh my gosh, for the story of my life. Okay, so Virgis last week he got sent down to the border. We were talking about pharmaceuticals and what that looks like in a post-collapse situation. Just scary stuff right there. And then this week, so he's down on the border. There's a huge quake, of course, with all the medical supplies.
Messed up the warehouse.
Yes. And he has a run in. Those of you that know the story will know who he ran into. Mr. Swenson out there.
Oh, guys.
Everywhere you don't want to be. And then so they have all these people flooding in to get the medical supplies, which would be totally legit. Okay, if somebody,
back in your car, mister.
Oh yeah, get back there. And he's like, "What the heck, man, Mr. Baby Face." That's That's my Swenson voice. Doug would be like, "What?" Doug's taking ownership of that character. It's kind of creepy.
Right?
No, Doug's awesome. So much better guy than Swenson is. But yeah, so it would be totally like that, just chaotic. If somebody had, all the medical supplies and like, imagine if Jace Case was still in operation, like post-apocalyptic, how many people would be lined up outside of their warehouse, It'd be so crazy.
Yeah, and what would happen if they had like an earthquake, right? So there's like a crack in the veneer of the security, so it's civilized behavior. Are people going to rush the gates or all this other madness?
Yeah, right. I've been at like concerts where riots broke out and stuff, and it was like they're just hosing people down with pepper spray and whatnot. I would think it would be something similar to that, So, so then the federal trucks arrive and they expect they're going to get, loaded up, priority loading. So I'm sure Virgis had just his moment of, ha ha ha, screw you, when he could tell him no. And you played that in the audio drama. I loved the character you did in the audio drama. It was so hard for me to not mimic that voice when I was reading the story. It was great.
My snotty.
Yeah. Well, I think you should have been me. Yeah. I loved it.
I was like, how can I be a different person? I was like, okay, I'm going all in.
Yeah, that was so good.
Just a total weasel jerkhead.
I loved it. It was perfect. So today we're talking earthquakes. And obviously, I've been tantalized by earthquakes. I don't honestly know how, like why or how it came about in my life that I just got the feeling that like earthquakes were going to be very relevant in our future. And I've taken some heat from the post-apocalyptic world because it wasn't a meteor or, an economic collapse. But like, imagine that infrastructure is destroyed and not enough people actually died. So you just have like chaos, with no stuff left, which is pretty much what's happening with the weather and whatnot. If you listen to the actual numbers, even, Turkey was a horrible event. A lot of buildings were lost. A lot of infrastructure was destroyed. And yes, a lot of people lost their lives. But like, if you think about it in a percentage wise of like, people that would have been lost percentage wise if it was like a major pandemic or like an explosion or a meteor hitting, that's going to kill a lot of people along with destroying the infrastructure. But right. But in this case, like, you don't have the infrastructure and you still have the people. So it creates a crazy situation where you still have to feed people. And it brings a lot of ethical questions into reality, which is what I was doing with my first novel, especially, was exploring like these ethical questions of, how would you respond? Where is your breaking point? What values are you going to hold on to no matter what? Because I tell you what, once you start breaking one, then the next, it gets easier and easier, right? So you really have to decide in your mind, like, what am I going to hold to? And I don't think any of us can really answer that question outright till we are in it. Because
test it.
Yeah. Because you could be like, yeah, I'm going to be totally virtuous and blah, blah, blah. And then you're watching your loved one, and maybe what you need to save them is in somebody else's possession. Well, what are you going to do?
They need it to save their loved one or their own situation. So it's like...
Right. And so that's one of the things about like Christianity that is like, we can't just look at our loved ones and be like, they're our brothers, but as everyone as our brethren. And so it gets really challenging. Like, are you going to be able to do that? I don't know. We've never been in that position, but that's what walking through the books. So Bible talks a lot about earthquakes. So I'm going to read a couple of of Revelations. And we'll just go from there. So Revelation 6:12 from the King James Bible. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. So if you follow suspicious observers at all in the catastrophe cycle that he talks about, as far as the sun collecting the dust basically and then having to do a solar micronova release of that energy, that's exactly what would happen. The sun would actually go dim, black as sackcloth, and then there would be this explosion that comes off of it, and it would really, really rock our planet. So there's your first example. Revelations 11:13. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the God in heaven. Matthew 24:6-8, King James Version as well. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows. So, growing up a Roman Catholic, hearing these things, I guess you wonder where the earthquakes came from, right? Well, I guess I had it fed to me there, and but it always seems like the earthquake is the trigger, the start, the event, right? So I really got into earthquakes, and that's why I chose it. And then also, I've really been into prophets, Nostradamus. I've talked about Edgar Cayce on the show before. Edgar Cayce, if you guys haven't researched him, you really should. He was so Edgar Cayce, really profound prophet of our generation, basically. He was just our grandparents' age. And it was so cool because he could fall asleep on a book and absorb the book. Like, if I could do that, oh my gosh.
Man, I need some of that.
Right? Oh no, I've just been like, oh, please. I would so go for that. So we've talked about his prediction of when Vesuvius and Pele erupt, that we're going to see quakes off the coast of California, and these quakes are going to cause a damaging flood from Utah to southern Nevada. So if you look at his maps and you think about the changing Earth world that I've created, that's exactly where I went to make my maps and kind of bring that world to life and show you what it might look like. So if we look at classical science, okay, so we're going to jump into kind of more reality realm now, right? We're out of prophecy. USGS, they do a publication each year. Some people call them the USBS, just so you know. So so everything gets taken with a grain of salt, right? When it comes to modern scientific theory, although I'm sure, I like to think everybody comes from a space of good and thinking they're doing the right thing. But I don't know. You got to wonder sometimes. So USGS has an article, 2023 National Seismic Hazard Model, What's Shaking. I put it up in the live chat, and I'll put the link to my blog, of course. But they were talking about, in the United States, we're definitely looking at the West Coast, of course, for activity. Southeast Idaho, that's Yellowstone area. They have been seeing some 3-pointers there, which is pretty significant. We actually had one of those this week. The New Madrid area, which is legit, and Southern Carolina. I don't know why.
Charleston?
Yeah.
Charleston had the big, in the 1800s, had the big earthquake.
Right. I don't know why that area.
They have rumblings every year or so. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking at that. So, also our activity as far as fracking and, mining out oil, things like that can have a big effect on our earthquake activity. And we've talked about the Ogallala before on the show. It's a huge reservoir. It goes from Nebraska into the panhandle of Texas. And I was really hoping when I researched it that came out of my fictional brain. But there's the but. It is a lot of limestone, which is stone that can, once you pull the water out of it, it could collapse. And so that's a big concern with all the fracking activity and stuff that they're doing around there. Fort Peck Dam up north, another big concern with all the fracking activity they're starting to do in Montana and whatnot. If you haven't researched that, check that out. We've talked about it before. It's a earthen levee dam that probably should have been redone, 50 years ago. And could be big trouble for the United States. So there's a lot of things that if we had this kind of quake, it would be big trouble. Big trouble. When we look at the world, earthquakes are more prominent in the Ring of Fire area. That's the Pacific. Down to Chile, right? West Coast of the United States, West Coast South America, Indonesia, and then up the coast of Japan and the eastern coast of Russia and all that. There's also an area, though, like north of the Mediterranean, and it kind of draws a line laterally across that continent, northern India, that area, where you can see that there's a lot of earthquake activity that takes place there. And that's fault lines. There's fault lines all up in there. We're going to get to this in the Changing Earth news, but the 7th, was the 6-month anniversary since the Turkey earthquake. And it's starting to shake again. So, yeah, we got to keep eyes on that one. A lot of earthquake activity going on there right now. I'm going to share another link. That's the maps to the world seismic risk. Kind of a cool map that I found that shows you some of that information. If you guys aren't on the live chat, you got to get over there, man. Okay. So then we go into how could an earthquake shake the world? Because everybody's like, well, yeah, earthquake. Well, it's like local, right? It's like Turkey. It's not like it could affect our country, So there's a theory called crustal displacement. And crustal displacement was Charles Hapgood. It was one of the scientists that really first thought it out. He wrote a book on it. There's some controversy over if the government had some sway in kind of discrediting him and his theories so that people wouldn't know the ins and outs of it. But even Albert Einstein did the prologue of his book because he was behind his theories, understood what was going on. And crustal displacement is basically the movement of the continents on top, Pangea turned into the continents, right? So how could these things actually move? How would that happen? How does that look like? And so Suspicious Observer's Ben over there, he goes into a lot of talking about how the reality. So the question that Einstein couldn't get right was, how do they unlock? How would it actually unlock? And Ben had a really cool explanation. So when the magnetic shielding of our planet goes down, which it is, and we get hit with more of the CME activity from the sun, it causes more intense lightning. And when you have lightning that intense, it excites the water that's underneath the land. So you could literally have a layer of water now underneath the land, and that could allow the crust to unlock and move on top of it. And there's theories that Antarctica used to be up closer to the edge of South America, and there's even maps of it from the 1600s that it was there. And then suddenly now it's down there. So how did that happen, right? So crustal displacement could be a way that those types of things happen. Just diving into diving into science land. This is where your brain went nuts with my with my explanation for you.
All those formulas and Greek letters. I was like, ah.
Yeah. It's a lot to digest, but really cool to study, to check out if you're an Earth geek, kind of like I am. So here's a couple of links to that information, and I'll go ahead and put that in my blog over on the website as well, so you guys can check that out. Okay, so that's how we could have a global earthquake. So there's a few types of earthquake. We have collapse earthquakes. That's like what we're talking about with the Ogallala could happen, where things actually just collapse. Sinkholes, cave-ins, that kind of stuff. So that one could be natural or man-made. And then explosive earthquakes. So that is from when explosives are literally detonated. That's whenever they're mining and stuff like that, it can cause earthquakes. And it actually pops up on like the earthquake reports, felt it reports, those kind of things. Obviously, nuclear explosions going to cause earthquake. Tectonic earthquakes, which is, we all know, you know, the slip and all that stuff. And then volcanic earthquakes. So when the magma's on the move and whatnot, it can cause earthquakes. And so that's why a lot of times, you know, does the magma movement cause the earthquake and then it equals eruption? Or does the earthquake cause the magma to move, then it equals eruption? We don't really know yet, but, you know, we're looking at it. Okay, tinfoil hat time. Ready? The directed energy weapons. So we have been developing directed energy weapons. And this is HAARP, a high frequency active auroral research program. So basically, they believe that it's basically the world's largest ionospheric heater. So they're heating the ionosphere. Why? You know, I don't know. Research, whatever, military. So we have this compound up in Alaska. It's like 450 kilometers east of Anchorage. And a lot of people believe that this could actually be a weapon used to activate or trigger electromagnetic conditions that would cause earthquakes. So basically, like, you could use this in warfare to cause other people to have earthquakes in different countries. Now, you found out something cool about that, Chin.
Yeah, so I was looking up the HARP because and it came up with, they actually bounced the signal off a passing asteroid, and then in December of 2022, and asked ham operators to acknowledge whether they heard the signal or not. And like the article I read, they hadn't done a full report yet on the results of that experiment, but they had 300 people, ham operators across the continents, you know, across the world, that had reported in that they had noticed the signal. So
that's crazy.
So it's kind of like they let, if it is tinfoil, they let enough out and get people engaged in it. So they're like, oh no, this is legit. We just helped out on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, it was a good thing. Like we were just doing research and whatnot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we helped. We heard the signal. And, you know, like we emailed them in, and we had this website to email back to, or whatever it was. So
it's so crazy. I've also heard about another one, like in Antarctica. That's another, like, that they have like these laser weapons and stuff too. And they've actually picked them up on the weather radars, and that they can cause like serious fires, that kind of thing. So I don't know. You know, it would make sense. We've had it around in sci-fi for a long time, and they've been doing a lot of sci-fi movies on, like, you know, how to change the weather, create different things. So it would make sense that they're actually developing some type of weapon that could be used in that capacity. And imagine, like, if somebody could do that to, like, the Long Valley caldera or whatever. So if you had a weapon where you could cause an earthquake on that super volcano and cause it to erupt, you could really hurt the United States, cripple us very, very hard with that type of weapon. So, yes, people are looking to use their powers for evil, and so they've done things like that as well. So, that could cause some serious earthquakes. All right, so one thing that's really interesting that I've found in doing earthquake research is when liquefaction happens. So liquefaction is where the ground shakes so hard that it actually becomes like water. And then you can fall down go into the ground. Your house could go into the ground. Your car could go into the ground. And then once the earthquake's done, boop, it's hard again. So, yeah. So, like, if you were outside, everybody's like, yeah, go outside during the earthquake. Makes total sense because you don't want stuff falling on you, from being inside. But what if the ground was liquefied through liquefaction and then it becomes hard again and now you're like halfway buried in the dirt? It wouldn't be good. So that's always something that that you can fill your nightmares up with, that kind of thing, I was like, oh, what if that happened to your house? But it did happen, like in the San Francisco quake of 1903. They had a lot of liquefaction because it was just crummy ground. Okay, let me go ahead and share that one as well. That's from the USGS. And then you can look it up. There's lots of other types of instances where this has actually happened. This is pretty interesting. Okay. So what do we do? So luckily, earthquakes are pretty easy to prepare for. And the USGS actually has a really good set of information on that. Pretty comprehensive list here. So first of all, they suggest that you tie all your stuff down. So my buddy lives up in Eureka, California, and she has a lot of earthquakes up there. And like your TV monitors, the computer monitors, they're thin now. Remember, they used to have the big backs on them. Well, now that they're all skinny, they fall down like nobody's business. They go down in quakes. Dressers and bookshelves and stuff like that go down in earthquakes. So those types of things, you really want to have them secured to the wall. It's important to make sure that they're at least have them away from your bed, away from your sofa. Like if you're going to be sitting on, or laying in bed, you don't want to have your bookshelf right next to you where it's going to fall on you, dump all these books on you, that kind of thing. Have them away from escape routes. So you don't want your bookshelf to be right in front of like your doorway, and then it rattles down and now you can't get through the doorway to get out. Right? I thought that was a pretty good one too. Heavy objects should go on the low-lying shelves, of course. They probably should do that anyway to save your bookshelf, I found.
Right.
Yeah. Because it tends I have a lot of books, so it sags the shelf, so best to have those on the bottom anyway. And then your water heater, any kind of heavy furniture, they suggest putting mirrors or photos on closed hooks. So, if you really care about something, make sure that it's connected to the wall. We literally put our bookshelves, we screwed the bookshelf to the wall and just make it part of the house because then it's never going to fall over, And it's not very tough to do. You just need a stud finder. Plan to be safe. So we've talked a lot about having your shoes by the bed, flashlight, gloves, goggles. They actually call it the under the bed bag. I was like, yeah, USGS. All right. Shoes, glasses, flashlight, a dust mask. Good idea. Whistle. If you find a company that sells Mayday supplies, I think there's a company out of Florida called Sunset Survival that if you find a company that sells Mayday supplies, they have a really good earthquake kit in it. They even have like hard hats, and everything like that in the kit. So especially if you're in an earthquake prone area, definitely worth your time to have something like this. I mean, if you're in LA and you don't have an under the bed bag, I'm sorry, like, you know, if you're in Eureka and you don't have an under the bed bag, you know, probably like St. Louis, Memphis, Tennessee, I would start really alerting to this kind of thing. That those towns are not built for earthquakes, and the New Madrid is waking up. So wake up, make sure you're prepared for that kind of thing. It would suck to be in bed. Your window's broken. You got bare feet, Know how to signal if you get trapped. So have an emergency whistle in that kit. The rescuers look for the 3 knocks. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right? It's the SOS, basically.
Yeah, right.
In Morse code. But obviously it's going to be harder to do a dash, dash, dash unless you have a whistle where you can go beep, 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 dash, 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 beep, 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 right? So if you're just knocking, they
3 quick, 3 slow, 3 quick.
Oh, right. Yeah, that'd work.
Yep.
So make sure that you know it, your family members know it. Know how to shut off utilities. This is the biggest problem with earthquakes is usually the gas lines get severed and then they start fires. So make sure you know how to shut that utility off. And maybe know how to do it at the road as well. They have CERT teams, community emergency response teams. You can definitely become an community emergency response member. They know like who's the high risk people in the neighborhood and stuff like that. They have apps for your phone. Have a safe outside place to meet up. And then have a plan for your family members. Most of us already have that because, we're in the preparedness community. That's essential to every disaster, but make sure that you have that in place. With the under the bed bag, you have your go bag, you have your car kit. They have a good breakdown of the go bags and the car kits. I mean, if you need any help with that, obviously you're in the right place. You can grab one off my website too if you become a member, who's the chick at Prepper Camp that does the she has great
Jan. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's another vertically challenged person.
Oh, thank you, Chad. Yeah, point that out there.
She's awesome. Yeah, she's a friend. She lives.
Yeah,
just a little bit ways.
Yeah, she's awesome. And I loved her that her car kit and then her long-term go bag and stuff like that. So it's
she gave serious thought about every piece, article that went into that bag.
Yeah,
and weight and everything else. Yeah. And
she has the good poncho that you wouldn't buy your wife.
Stop. I bought her one, but it's not that expensive.
Yeah, you want to go digging? There we go.
I got her the B grade, not the A grade.
Right. That's okay. I got plastic. So, you can also have household and then workplace should have an emergency kit. Make sure your office has an emergency kit. You don't know, you might get stuck there.
Or have your own.
Yeah. Right.
As well as an office one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's good to see if the office has it, but I had my own stash back in the office days.
But then everybody's trying to go after your stash. Make sure the office has one too. Have your own stuff, exactly. But make sure everybody else is taken care of as well. So I don't come after your stuff. Minimize financial risk. So of course, as an insurance person, get earthquake coverage. Is ground movement covered in your state? How do you make that happen? Most states offer it as part of their homeowners package. California is a little bit different, obviously. But make sure it's included. A lot of times you have to actually request it. And like here in Texas, there's sandy loam soil. So you want to make sure you have foundation coverage anyway, because the settling can be big problems if you have a cracked foundation. That's not good. But a lot of times it's an endorsement that you have to ask them to add to it. Document folder should have that anyway. And then, if you have the money, build your home to be earthquake safe. And if you're in that area, or they have a retrofit process that you can do for that. I got it covered today, man.
You do.
I know. I was like,
the formulas. Break out the chalkboard.
Yes. Oh, I could go off for days on this one. Like I was like,
nothing on you.
I was into it all day, just geeking out. Like, oh, I get to do the earthquake show tonight. Okay, let's go ahead and let me see what screen I'm on here on my computer, and we'll go ahead and get into some changes. All right, changing Earth news. I need to have like an intro for that. I say that every time, I think, but eventually, I don't have enough projects going right now, so I'm just going to add one more to it. All right, today's solar activity is looking pretty good. We're pretty calm. We just got done with like all those M class, one X class as it was leaving. That stuff's all on the other side of the sun right now. So luckily it's not pointed our way. I mean, God must still really, really love us, because seems like as soon as those spots go by, boom, X class. It's like, oh, that would have been horrific if it was on our side. So keep praying, guys. I guess we must be doing something right still. Top stories of this week. We had some big storms hit the East Coast. You guys got hammered over there. Up into Virginia, all the way up. So that was big. Hawaiian wildfires. Obviously, we're going to talk about that. There was a dam break in Norway that caused some severe flooding. So that's definitely on the list for today. And then the record heat in the South, which is just never going to end. That was part of the pre-game conversation there. Oh my gosh, it's been too hot. Too hot. Okay, so let's jump into it. August 7th, we had moderate earthquake conditions, 373 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.7 in Chin's favorite.
No.
Place. Yeah.
They are making a comeback lately.
Right?
All over the
I know. And they're usually in like the top 5. They've been actually having a lot of rumbling over there. On August 7th, Dubai was hit with a hail, dust storm, sandstorm. They called it the triple whammy. Like 100 people went into sought emergency medical attention because of that storm. Philadelphia County in Arizona, they're saying this is the worst heat wave to have ever hit. We got friends over there in Arizona. It has not been a fun time for them in this heat. It's not been fun for me either. And I know Phil ain't loving it in Louisiana right now either. It's been hot there too, man. It's just too hot. A 5.5 earthquake hit Shandong, China. They had multiple homes destroyed there. Du Bois County, Kentucky, they had severe thunderstorms with lots of damage happening. Sardinia, Portugal, they had a wildfire breakout there. 600 people had to be evacuated out of that area due to that wildfire. And then in Southern California, they've been having the wildfires kick up. And 3 people died when 2 of the helicopters collided with each other that were fighting the fire. Yeah. Dude, that's just not like, prayers go out to the people, but oh my goodness, get it together, guys. On the 8th of August, it was also a moderate earthquake day. There was 390 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.9 in the South Atlantic Ocean by Samoa. Sylvania, they had the major, we talked about it last week. They were having that huge flooding event. So at least 6 people died in that flooding. It was proclaimed one of the worst natural disasters to ever hit that country. Central New York, you sent me this one over this week as well. Yeah, they've been having just a nightmare of a time there. Were you going to add to it?
Oh, just that they had the 4 tornadoes.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, we're getting there. But they had the flooding too. All kinds of nightmares going on there. Road closures. Yeah. Maine was saw flooding on the 8th. So Maine, we had a tornado touchdown in Massachusetts. It was Mattapoisett. I'm sure that's a French name, and I'm saying it wrong. But they had a tornado touchdown there. Knoxville, Kentucky had an EF2 touchdown. Italy had a severe hailstorm, leaving thick layer of hail behind. And then, was really just all up and down the East Coast. Massive storms, over 1 million power outages, and 2 people dead in that series of storms. So a lot to deal with there on the East Coast. Big earthquake, 3.8 in Seattle, Washington, and then a 5.6 in Tanzania on the 8th. On the 9th of August was another moderate earthquake day. Actually, they're all moderate except for one this week. It was 398 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.8 in Chiapas, Mexico. On the 9th is when the wildfire in Hawaii really kicked up. Maui got hit. Lahaina is gone. Prayers to everybody involved in that. Too many people died in those fires. People were literally jumping into the ocean to not get burned. A friend of the show, JB, she has personal friends over there. We try to get them on the show today, but as you can imagine, there's so much stuff going on, And you can preach at your friends for a long time, and they're like, yeah, your preparedness stuff, whatever. They don't have to listen or whatnot. But then when that oh shit moment comes, when they're like, oh shit, maybe I should have listened, the Dave Jones has the saying, it always rattles around in my head. When are you going to wake up and yesterday was your last day to prepare? So, got to do your part. Got to have your go bags ready. Got to be ready to evacuate. Guys, these are important. It can happen anytime. You just don't know what tomorrow will bring. So be ready today and enjoy today. Flooding, severe flooding in Boston, Massachusetts. Then the dam in Norway went on the 9th as well. That was it partially burst, causing flooding. 30 people unfortunately lost their lives, and 18 went missing in Beijing. They're still dealing with flooding over there as well. Virginia, they had grapefruit-size hail falling down out of the sky. And then on the Colorado Plains near Yuma, they had baseball-sized hail coming down. A couple more tornadoes touched down there as well. Extreme weather is causing massive fruit shortages in Italian orchards. They have been getting completely wiped out with all the hail and flooding and endless challenging weather that they've been dealing with. And then Dubai was hit with a series of storms again, because we just mentioned them on the 8th. Hurricane force winds. Oh, they had quite a week as well. August 10th, there was 436 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.C in the Tasman Sea by New Zealand. Ottawa, Canada got their share of storms that day, flooding, power outages. We had a bunch of earthquakes, 2.5 in Maine, 5.2 in Indonesia, a big one. 5.2 in eastern Turkey, that same area that rumbled 6 months ago. 3.1 in central Idaho. I'm bringing that one up because that is Yellowstone territory. 4.9 in Taiwan. And as of the 10th, there was 35 people confirmed dead from the Hawaiian wildfires. On the 11th of August, there was 390 8 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.8 in the North Pacific Ocean by Japan. Mount Semeru erupted. China food supplies have been decimated. Their rice and corn supply has been destroyed by flooding. They are saying this is the worst rain they've had in 140 years. And it's going to be really interesting when it comes, time to harvest what's going to be available there. That's always important on the global scale, because we have so much going on everywhere and got to make sure that everybody stays fed. 53 people died in the Hawaiian wildfires as of August 11th. Syracuse, New York, back to you, New York. 4th tornado confirmed on the 11th. And then 2 hit New Jersey as well. So talk about like an odd area. We're going to have another one coming up too. El Paso, Texas, severe wind kicked up a haboob there. That's like a severe dust storm. There's a 4.3 earthquake in Parkfield, California, a 5.3 in Molotoy, Turkey, with 23 people wounded in Turkey, and then a 6.0 in Hokkaido, Japan. Big quakes going down. On the 12th, we finally had a low earthquake day, although there was still 362 earthquakes, biggest of which was a 5.1 in Indonesia. There's a big mudslide in Zhang, China. It's Xain, so however you say that, Xain, China. I don't know how you pronounce the X. 2 people died, 16 people missing in that event. Minnesota, finally, they were in a little bit of a drought. They finally got hit with a big storm, large hailstones coming down, golf ball size there. Hawaiian death toll goes up to 55. And in Shiawassee County in Michigan, they had a confirmed tornado touchdown as well there. So I know it comes in sometimes in Michigan. You can get water spouts off the Great Lakes and stuff like that. But like to see that amount of activity up there in the northeastern corner of the country, that's kind of weird. Unusual stuff. In Morocco, in the city of Marrakesh, they had a dust storm that was so bad. Literally, the sky just turned orange. It was, one of those apocalyptic days for them. And then today, there's been 363 earthquakes so far, the biggest of which was a 5.7 in the Solomon Sea by Papua New Guinea. Russia is cleaning up after Typhoon Kanun flooded them. They had about 4,368 homes flooded, so they're dealing with that. Atlanta in DeKalb County, Georgia, in Atlanta, they got hit with flooding there from a severe storm. Southeastern Iran, 700 people were hospitalized in a big dust storm that they got hit with. The Hawaiian death toll is now up to 93 individual. And they estimate that damage at about $6 billion of damage because of those fires. The official cause is still unknown. They are speculating that it was caused by human activity, which is absolutely
disgusting.
Yeah. It's just a lot of people, well, I don't know, because they're speculating the same thing about Canada. A lot of people are like, see, climate change is so bad. Our whole world's going to burn down. I'm going to start the fire. We were talking in the green room about why do we have to work through Armageddon, right?
Right.
We're not there, guys. So don't do anything stupid like that. Oh my gosh, So it's just so much damage, so much senseless loss of life. There's better ways to help make this world a better place than starting fires. Okay. Thousands are without power in Ohio. They had a severe storm come by, lots of hail, all that. Central United States is on a severe weather watch today. We're having some extreme storms go through Missouri. Arizona has actually got a thunderstorm warning up. I wish it was here in Texas, but it's supposed to be pretty serious. Man, we could use some rain. It's just been miserable. 4.9 earthquake in Mongolia and another one in Crete, Greece. So that's pretty legitimate size there. 3.8 in the North Atlantic Ocean near Eureka, California. And a 2.5 in Dyer County, Tennessee. So we're talking New Madrid area. That just happened today. As far as our volcanic count goes, we're finally walking the numbers back down. I was so surprised to see them up so high for so long. We're at 28 volcanoes actively erupting. So that's still high for as far as our numbers go. But it's not like it was the highest I've seen before. We were up at 30 and 29 for weeks. We have 32 showing minor activity, still high again. 31 showing unrest. That's actually a little bit below average. We took 4 off the list in total. So 4 came completely off the list. 2 in the erupting category, 1 in the minor category, and 1 in the unrest category. So that just shows you like we're walking, the CME activity isn't as high right now. So that has an effect on what's going on with the inner workings of the planet. As far as the United States wildfires, we are at a level 3 now. This is a scale between 1 to 5. So we're sitting dead center right now. We have 538,000 acres on fire. We have 5 states reporting major fire and 85 large fires burning in our country right now. In Alaska, they have 24 fires. So Alaska just stepped up big time. They were like, here, hold my beer. We're coming in. 24 fires burning for a total of 207,987 acres. California is coming in number 2. 2 fires actively. These are big fires, right? They only report the big ones. 2 fires, 93,918 acres. Montana's in 3rd place with 10 fires, 56,000 acres in Montana. Number 4 is Idaho with 55,000 acres there. And just side note, because I was curious, because I saw that Governor Abbott in Texas had declared a state of emergency, and I was like, oh, what's going on there? So we have like 14,000 acres burning in the state of Texas right now, too, which is, I mean, it's not on the list because it's not, in the grand scheme against other states, it's not that high, but still crazy. See, even Amber agrees.
Oh, she was upset.
I know. She's like, Texas, burning. Oh, my goodness. So there you go, guys. Changing Earth news. Man, prayers going out to everybody involved in the Hawaiian wildfires. What a devastational situation over there. Definitely have you in my thoughts and prayers. And hopefully we calm down a little as far as the storm activity. Or you guys on the East Coast, you could just send it to us down here, down south. I'd be fine with that, actually. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing some storms. So that'd be just fine. All right. Well, next week, hopefully we're gonna have Jane on. I talked to her about it. I need to give her a reminder tomorrow. But Jane, Survivor Jane's coming on. Talk to us about raising some rabbits.
Nice.
I always forget the breed that she raises. But it's like khaki something. It sounds so
the rabbits?
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's silver something.
I thought it had khaki in there. I don't know. It sounds so sophisticated. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
You got the sophisticated rabbits. So next week, Jane on. If you guys haven't listened to the 1 to 4 of the audio drama yet, go check it out, man. It's really, really good. It came out really, really well. And we're just going to get better from here on because, Chin's got lines in there eventually and everything. So everybody's waiting to hear from you, Chin. No.
Yeah, I bet.
Great cast, actually, this season. It's been a ton of fun to work with everybody. So appreciate all the love that everybody puts into that. If you want to find out more information, of course, head on over to changingearthseries.com. become a supporting member. You get full access to all the goodies there. More than willing to engage with you if you have anything that you want to bounce ideas off me or anything like that. You can just go over. There's a chat link. There's a contact me. Always happy to hear from everybody out there and be able to share in the community. And we're going to be running the anti-kidnapping class at prepper camps. We'll have a new video up and all kinds of stuff like that. It's going to be fun. We got so much going on right now. I'm going out of my brain. But I'm prepared. I've been I'm on it. I didn't wait till the last minute to do my book order. So nice. It's good. It's going to be good times.
So everybody bring their cash.
Yep. Oh, we got the
credit cards. Sometimes the system gets overloaded.
It's not a lie. It's not a lie. It is sometimes
bring your cash.
Yep. Sometimes I have to write the numbers down and then run them at night. It's just a mess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So bring the cash out. What else do we got? Yeah, that's it. Head on over to the website. Check it out. Everything's over there that you want to know. So, all right, guys.
Everything that I want to know?
Well, I mean, it could be. They could ask me, whatever. I'm not saying I might not answer every question, but I mean, awkward. Oh.
Those lottery numbers. You haven't told me that yet.
No. That'd be too easy. God has more tests for us than that.
I hear you.
Right? So, all right, guys. Until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster, Without Land, The Walls of Freedom, Battle for the South, Dark Days in Denver, and The Endless Night at www.authorSarahFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and podcast, become a supporter while you're there.